So in Pakistan or subcontinent, there's a very popular version of cricket played with tape ball. You just take a tennis ball and you just take an electrical tape. Like this one, a Nito, and you just wrap the tennis ball with it, create a seam, and that's the most popular version of cricket played in Pakistan on the streets, in the grounds. And most of Pakistan cricketers who play first class and play for Pakistan have played with tape ball. I'll quickly show you how it's done. This is a CA brand. You've got other brands. This is probably for chartered accountants. And then you've got the Win brand, the Dunlop. They're different tennis balls. There was a Leopard back in the day. But this is a very popular brand. So I'll quickly show you how it's done. You take the ball. You can do it either way, so you just press it a bit, create a seam like that, and then you start with a slight angle, like a 15 degrees angle. You start wrapping it up with a bit of force so it becomes tight. And you just do it till the very end. Yeah, I'll just keep doing it. So you're creating an angle and you're just slightly pushing it. Push it, baby, push it. So it doesn't take long. And on hard surfaces, these tapes come off and you just have to redo it when you're playing a match. So it's almost done now. So you just see the gap and just take that gap. And that's it. And then you just push it, and this is it. This is the final version. You can create a seam, like a seam for it, like that. That's the final version. That's a tape ball, and that's a cricket ball. Similar size, it's light in weight. Mind you, it can hit you hard. So you need to wear something, a protective guard. Otherwise, fuse. So Mochi's back, and I'll just continue from where I left off. It's still the beginning. He's still getting into cricket. He's young. He's a teenager. A very popular cricketer. Don't get me wrong, but he's not my type of a cricketer. Like, I would prefer to watch an intense game of test match where there's a battle going on between bat and ball. They're 10 overs without any runs, but the ball is doing something. The batsman technique is being challenged. That's like pure thing for me. That's like a food for my soul. I enjoy that. But he's popular. He's entertaining. I loved watching him play. I mean, he would entertain us. That was him. So he mentions in the last that he gets selected for under 14 as a bowler. So he goes on about his early days in school, and his father wants him to study. He puts him in private school, and which is a co-education in Karachi, and which offers O levels, like ordinary level, like a London board exam. Then he says, still, I regret not studying more, less for myself than for my father. He was a Pashtun, not so well educated himself. He was conservative and ambitious and really wanted me to get a decent education. Naturally, he did not approve of my full-time obsession with cricket, a game he believed would leave with no other options. In hindsight, he was right, but at the time I took his warning as a challenge. I'd already disappointed him in studies. Failure in cricket was not an option. So he focused himself more on cricket, and he convinced his father to put him in public school, which he mentions was a good gig for me. I fit in. All the private school outcasts were in that system. It was aggressive, dog-eat-dog environment, alphas only. Omegas were not welcome and usually got chewed up like bones. And the cricket itself, it was fantastic, bare-knuckle stuff. So let me stop you here and tell you about what the psychologists think that how information is processed. There's a system 1 and system 2 broadly. I'll just give you a short brief. There's a system 1, you can read the details, where information is received by your brain and there's an automatic response. There are some things which are already calculated and engraved in your memory, and there's an automatic response to it. And then there's a system 2 where the information is processed, is concentrated, it takes time. And I believe Shahid was one of the men who heavily banked on his system 1 and see the ball, hit the ball. He had no other options. It's a psychologist thing, so you can read details about the system 1 and system 2. It just came to my mind. I thought I'll share that. So I'll just move on. He's talking about his school days, and he wants to go in a public school where there's not much study, and and the cricket is good in public schools, but so he's hopping, he's convincing his father. He mentioned something. I felt claustrophobic in a classroom. Even today, I cramp uncomfortably during sit-down instruction lesson with coaches. I don't like tables and chairs and blackboards. Yuck. So then he goes on. Life went on. As the war in Afghanistan and tribal areas came to Karachi and the city grew more violent, it led to what began to be known as Karachi's Kalashnikov culture. Remember that. Inspired by the heavy influx of weapons and narcotics into mainland Pakistan. I remained focused on my game. I took my father's disapproval and his beatings, but managed to get into a government school. I didn't have much except my perseverance. Some call it stubbornness. It's still my greatest weapon, I think. Dheet hai bhai, haan dheet manta hai. Coaches used to tell him, hang on, watch, this, that, take the situation in account. But he would just go there and bash, bang, bang, boom, boom, logi. Pardo, that was his approach. Then he goes on. On the field, I always had a physical advantage. I think it's because of my genes. Pashtuns are built strong and tough. It's the way we are. It's the way many mountain people are. Though not very well schooled like other cricketing greats of Pakistan, my mental strength came from a love for the game. A blinding, unflinching, mad, absolutely crazy love for the game. Day or night, it didn't matter. In those years, after joining the school team, cricket became everything for me. I prayed that I'd keep playing, and playing for me was like praying. जहाँ तूने अपना सर झुका दिया, वहाँ मैंने काबा बना दिया. It was like that. It was religion for him. Then again, he talks about Imran Khan. My dream, my yardstick for success was the one and only Khan, Imran. By the time I was in my teens, as he brought home the World Cup in 1992, I dreamt about being like him, his equal. I would pray to God and wonder if Imran Khan has earned so much respect in the eyes of millions everywhere. Why can't I? What is holding me back from becoming like him? My cricket fever was intense in those days. About 3 or 4 nights every week before I slept, prior to any game or even at practice sessions, I dreamt with my eyes open. I visualized entire matches all in my head. I'm walking into the stadium, the crowd is cheering, I'm slamming sixes. I dreamt that I was the new Imran Khan. So that's about it. Then I'll just move on to the next chapter, the Karachi cricket cult. So I'm no cricket historian or master strategist, but I know that every cricket playing nation has its own culture and subculture, which eventually percolates into the game. The basics matter, become part of your cricketing DNA. They structure your approach and ethics towards the game. Want to know where we get our famous Pakistani aggression from? Read on. Almost all Pakistani cricketers, the great ones at least, began by playing on the street with tape and tennis balls. We stand out in this regard. In stark contrast, there are hordes of foreign cricketers who have never played anywhere except a cricket ground. True. Does street-side cricket make a difference in how Pakistanis play? Yes, it does. Firstly, it has made our hand-eye coordination sharper. The tape ball is smaller than a cricket ball and it travels faster and swings a lot more. Thus, as a batsman, you have to be more nimble to attack the ball. Secondly, the tape ball is faster through the air and from the ground. It swings a mile if you shave off the tape from one side. So if you cut this is the tape ball. If you cut this tape and take it out, it will swing. Just like the shine and the dry side, the rough side of a proper cricket ball. So it's quite similar. It swings a mile if you shave off one side. Importantly, you can play more daring strokes, especially the big lofted hits. I'll just read this last one and end it here. The concept is pretty simple. A tennis ball, a good one, like a Dunlop, is taped up with a single layer of electric tape, Nito, which I just showed you earlier. A Japanese electric tape widely available in Karachi in a variety of colors was the preferred choice in my days. If the money was too tight for a Dunlop, we would go for a Win, maybe a Leopard, but you couldn't dip too low. The ball wouldn't have much bounce otherwise. So it depended. The ball had to be like a bit hard and good, slightly, because otherwise a cheaper ball wouldn't bounce. So he goes on to make things complicated. We sometimes tape them up in multiple colors, but the preferred shades simulated real cricket. Red for day matches, white for night. So I'll just end it here and I'll continue in the next ones with some other interesting stories. Thanks for watching.
Another illustration from this book. This is Shahid and this is The Great Khan. It's 2014. and 62-year-old Imran Khan sitting with probably 38 years old Shahid